Vanessa Blake checked her watch again, irritation mounting with each passing minute. Her car had broken down on a country road 30 minutes outside the city, and she was supposed to be meeting her blind date at an upscale restaurant downtown. Instead, she stood beside her luxury sedan in jeans and a white blouse, waiting for the tow truck. At 36, Vanessa had built a successful real estate development company, and she was accustomed to things going according to plan. This was decidedly not according to plan. A vintage pickup truck pulled up, and a man stepped out wearing a gray t-shirt that had seen better days and jeans with grease stains. He asked if she was Vanessa Blake, and when she confirmed, he introduced himself as Jack Morrison, the owner of the garage in town. The tow truck was out on another call, so he had come himself. He offered to look at her car before towing it, suggesting it might be something simple. Vanessa hesitated for only a moment before nodding her agreement. Jack opened the hood and began examining the engine with practiced efficiency that spoke of years of experience. He asked when she had last serviced the vehicle, and Vanessa admitted she did not know because her assistant handled those matters. Jack made a non-committal sound and continued his inspection. After several minutes, he straightened up and delivered the diagnosis. Her alternator was shot, and while he could fix it, he would need to take the car back to his shop. It would not be done until tomorrow afternoon. Vanessa felt her perfect evening slip further away from her grasp. Tomorrow afternoon meant she would miss meetings that had been scheduled for weeks. Jack offered to have it ready by noon if he worked late tonight, but that was the best he could do. Vanessa pulled out her phone to call her assistant, then remembered there was no cell service out here in the countryside. She asked if she could use his phone, and he handed it over without hesitation. Vanessa called her assistant first, canceling the morning meetings with apologies. Then she called her blind date to explain the situation. The man on the other end sounded annoyed rather than concerned about her predicament. After hanging up, Vanessa handed the phone back to Jack and thanked him. He said it was no problem and offered her a ride back to town, suggesting she could stay at the inn while he worked on her car. As they drove through the countryside, Vanessa found herself studying Jack in the golden afternoon light. He was younger than she had initially thought, maybe early 30s, with kind eyes and calloused hands that spoke of hard work and dedication. She asked if he really owned the garage, and he confirmed that he had inherited it from his father 5 years ago. It was not glamorous work, he admitted, but it was honest. Vanessa said she was not judging him, and Jack replied that most people did, though he spoke without bitterness in his voice. At the garage, Jack dropped her off at the small inn across the street and promised to text her when the car was ready. The inn was charming in a rustic way that made Vanessa feel distinctly out of place. She checked in and realized she had no change of clothes and nowhere to eat except the local diner down the street. At the diner, she ordered coffee and tried to work on her laptop, attempting to salvage what she could of her work evening. A familiar voice asked if he could join her, and she looked up to see Jack, now cleaned up and wearing a fresh t-shirt. She had thought he was working on her car, but he explained that he needed dinner, and this was the only place open in town. Vanessa gestured to the empty seat across from her. As they ate simple diner food, Jack asked about her work with genuine interest. Vanessa found herself explaining her business with more enthusiasm than she had felt in months. Jack observed that she clearly loved her work, but Vanessa admitted that she used to love it. Lately, it felt more like obligation than passion, she confessed. Jack said he understood that feeling completely. After his father died, he had thought about selling the garage, moving to the city, and starting over somewhere new. Vanessa asked what had stopped him from making that change. His daughter, Jack said simply. Her name was Lily. She was 8 years old, and after her mother left them, he realized that stability mattered more than ambition. Vanessa felt something shift in her perception of this man who fixed cars for a living. She said that must have been incredibly difficult for him. Jack agreed that it was challenging, but they were doing okay now. Lily was happy, he was content, and that was more than a lot of people could honestly say. They talked until the diner closed for the night, sharing stories and perspectives. Jack walked Vanessa back to the inn, and she thanked him for the company. Jack replied with a grin that she was not as uptight as he had expected. Vanessa laughed despite herself and wished him good night. The next morning, Vanessa woke early and walked around the small town, really seeing it for the first time. It was charming in ways she had forgotten places could be, with friendly faces and genuine community. People greeted her on the street, and shopkeepers knew each other by name. Around noon, Jack called to tell her the car was ready, and Vanessa headed back to the garage. At the garage, Vanessa found Jack finishing up paperwork at his desk. She asked how much she owed him, and Jack named a price that seemed far too low for the work he had done. She protested that it could not be right, but Jack assured her it was the standard rate for the repair. As Vanessa prepared to leave, a little girl appeared from the back office wearing overalls and asking about lunch. When she noticed Vanessa, she apologized for interrupting. Jack introduced his daughter, Lily, and the girl asked if Vanessa was the lady with the fancy car. Jack gently corrected her, but Vanessa said it was perfectly fine. Yes, she was the lady with the fancy car that had broken down. Lily announced that her daddy always said cars were like people in that they needed care and attention to work properly. Vanessa smiled and said her daddy sounded very wise indeed. On impulse, Vanessa made an unexpected offer. She asked if they would like to have lunch with her as a thank you for fixing her car. Jack hesitated, saying she did not have to do that, but Vanessa insisted she wanted to. Over lunch at the diner, Vanessa watched Jack and Lily interact with each other. The love between them was obvious and uncomplicated, genuine and deep. Lily told stories about school with animated enthusiasm, and Jack listened with his full attention. Lily asked Vanessa if she had any kids of her own. Vanessa replied that she did not, and Lily asked why not with the directness only children possess. Jack started to say it was personal, but Vanessa assured him it was fine. She explained that she had been too focused on work, she supposed. Lily said that was sad because kids were really fun to have around. Vanessa found herself laughing and agreed that Lily made a very good argument. After lunch, Vanessa prepared to drive back to the city and her regular life. Jack walked her to her car in the afternoon sunshine. He thanked her for breakfast, saying that Lily had really enjoyed spending time with her. Vanessa admitted that she had enjoyed it as well, perhaps more than she had expected to. She paused, surprising herself with what she was about to say next. She asked Jack if he would be interested in having dinner sometime in the city. Jack looked genuinely surprised and asked if she meant like a date. Vanessa confirmed that yes, she meant like a date. Jack said carefully that he did not really fit into her world of business and sophistication. Vanessa replied that perhaps her world needed to expand beyond what it currently was. Jack smiled and said yes, he would like that very much. Over the following weeks, they saw each other regularly, despite the distance between their worlds. Sometimes Vanessa drove out to the small town to spend time in his simpler world. Sometimes Jack arranged for a babysitter and met her in the city for dinner. They discovered they had more in common than either had initially expected. Both had lost parents when they were young, and both valued honesty over pretense. Jack showed Vanessa the satisfaction of working with your hands and creating something tangible. Vanessa showed Jack that ambition did not necessarily mean abandoning your values. 3 months after her car had broken down on that country road, Vanessa brought Jack and Lily to her company's annual Family Day event. Her colleagues were visibly surprised to see her arrive with a mechanic and his young daughter. She introduced Jack Morrison and his daughter Lily to everyone she encountered. One of her business partners pulled her aside privately and asked what she was doing with this relationship. Vanessa replied simply that she was building a life, not just a company. That evening, after Lily had fallen asleep in the back of Jack's truck, he and Vanessa sat together on a park bench under the stars. Jack observed that her colleagues did not seem to approve of him very much. Vanessa said they did not have to approve because she did. Jack asked why she would choose him when he was not rich, not polished, and could not give her the lifestyle she was accustomed to living. Vanessa told him he gave her something far better than material wealth. He reminded her that life was about more than quarterly earnings and property developments. She took his hand in hers and continued. He showed her what it meant to build something that truly mattered, like a family, a community, and a life with purpose beyond profit. Jack squeezed her hand and said she was extraordinary. Vanessa replied that he was extraordinary too. A year later, Vanessa sold her company to her business partners in a deal that surprised everyone. She did not retire completely, but she scaled back her involvement dramatically. She opened a small real estate office in Jack's town, focusing on affordable housing development for families who needed it. Jack expanded his garage and hired 2 employees so he could spend more time with Lily and Vanessa. They married in a simple ceremony at the town hall with close friends and family present. Lily was the flower girl and took her responsibility very seriously, as she did with everything. Before the ceremony, Lily told Vanessa she had known she was special from the first time they met. Vanessa asked how she had known that so quickly. Lily explained that Vanessa had looked at her daddy like he mattered, not like he was just the mechanic who fixed cars. Vanessa felt tears prick her eyes at the wisdom of this child. Years later, when people asked how they had met, Vanessa would tell them about her car breaking down on a country road. She would mention the blind date that never happened and finding herself stranded in a small town. She would talk about meeting a mechanic who changed everything about how she saw the world. Vanessa would say she had thought her life was perfect because she had money, success, and everything she had worked for. Jack would add that she had been missing something important despite all that success. Vanessa would correct him gently and say she had been missing everything that truly mattered. She had been missing love, community, and purpose beyond profit. Most importantly, she had been missing him and the life they would build together. Sometimes the best things come from plans falling completely apart. Sometimes a breakdown leads to a breakthrough that changes everything. Vanessa had been driving toward a blind date with someone suitable and accomplished, someone established and successful who fit perfectly into her world of business. Instead, her car had broken down, and she had found Jack. He was a mechanic with calloused hands and a kind heart who valued people over possessions. He was a single father who showed her that real success was not measured in deals closed, but in moments shared. That breakdown had been the best thing that ever happened to her. It had broken down more than just her car on that country road. It had broken down the walls she had built around her heart over years of focusing only on career. It had let in something infinitely more valuable than any property she had ever developed in her professional life. She had found a family, a home, and a life that was truly worth living every single day. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales. Leave a comment about a time when life's unexpected detours led you to exactly where you needed to be.